For joining us, DDG.
Good morning.
What are the main factors that contributed to this slight increase?
There are many ways to look at the increase. Primarily, if we divide the economy into those positive industries and the negative ones, we will see that the negative contributions came from mining and manufacturing, whereas the positive contributors came from the business services, transport and communication sector, and then to a limited extent from agriculture and neutral from construction.
All right, so that's the breakdown of it. Obviously, we have a look at it, and it's not a great increase. Do you think it could have been more within this quarter, or were you quite satisfied with the way that it did come in?
Satisfaction is not for us to decide, but I think general consensus is that the growth is disappointing. As you mentioned, it's not enough to sustain jobs. But there are many different ways to look at these statistics. We should also keep an eye on how our quarter compared to the same quarter in the previous year. So for those year-on-year comparisons, we recorded a 1.0% positive. And then for the 6 months of 2014, compared to the same period in 2013, the growth was actually 1.3%. So although the growth is very sluggish, I will be surprised if it doesn't pick up towards the latter half of this year. We know that the main reasons for the slowdown in both the primary and the secondary sectors was related to industrial action. In some cases we had stoppages for safety in some of the manufacturing plants, retooling of manufacturing plants, etc. And if that doesn't occur again in the second half of this year, we can expect to see positive growth from the sectors that are detracting at the moment.
Okay. If we have a look at Moodys' downgrade of our economy, did that have an effect at all?
I'm not sure. The downgrading would impact on the ability and the costs associated with lending. So maybe down the line it will impact on the ability of businesses to secure new capital for economic growth. But I think it's a little bit early for us to see what the actual impact of that would be on the numbers.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, I suppose taking into consideration what's happening, or what happened with African Bank, also downgrading of our big four banks as well, this, I imagine, would impact future numbers. So is this correct?
It could, but there would obviously be a lag if there's any impact on that. So time will tell.
Okay. Talk to us about some of the challenges that the country is now facing in terms of this growth. And obviously, joblessness is perhaps one of the biggest things that we need to overcome and get our economy moving like a machine.
The country is still faced with the three challenges, as government has outlined, of the unemployment, poverty and inequality. And to overcome that, you need to create jobs, and you do that by having strong economic growth. Now, there are different policy measures that one can adopt and implement to secure the economic growth. But for us, the focus at Statistics South Africa is to make sure that we measure as accurately as possible and in a reliable fashion what has happened, so that the rest of government is able to draft these policies and to implement them effectively.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. It's been good talking to you. That was the Deputy Director General at Statistics South Africa, Joe de Beer, and he's in our Pretoria studio. Thank you very much for joining us.